Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a little bit special. So the Western Festival just started, and with it a new season of the championship ranks, and I know a lot of us are out there trying to grind and get enough points to complete it. I don't think I've ever actually completed one because it is so hard, it takes forever, and also I absolutely stink at champs, which you may be thinking, why am I making a video about how to be a pro at races if I'm not good at them? But I just looked up all this stuff and have it fresh in my mind because I need to start using it for myself to get better, so I thought now is a great time to make a video about it. So this is just going to be a straightforward tips and tricks video, but a lot of the things that I found online are pretty obvious and I think everybody knows it already. But some things that I found, I think even like an old player might not know about it. It's not like super obvious, so I think everybody will learn something from this video. For starters though, before we get into the actual video, if you don't know how to check and see how many points you have on the ranks, you can do this by going to any champ and going to the schedule board there, and you just click on it, and towards the bottom, I think on the right side, it'll say championship ranks, and you can click on that and that will show you exactly how many points you have, how many more you need to the next goal, and that's also where you can go to claim your ribbons. So if you are a new or newish player, it's going to be very hard for you to be competitive in championships compared to someone who is a high level player. Players that are around like level 25 are going to have the easiest time winning championships, and then obviously the lower your player level is, the harder it's going to be for you. And this is because the higher your player level, the faster you are. And if you combine that with other kinds of stats that you can get in game, it can make or break winning for you. So I really would recommend, like if you're a new player, to try to do as much as you can to level up your actual character XP as fast as you possibly can, and that will help you significantly in champs. I've been playing for 2 years and I'm only level 22, and I'm having a very hard time with champs even at that level, but part of that is just because I reek at champs. But if you want to try to get as much character XP as you can, festivals like the ones going on right now is a great place for it. Also, just doing story quests and anything like that that's going to give you character XP, you want to be doing like crazy in order to level up as fast as you can. So similar to player XP, you want to make sure that you're using a horse that has high stats and is preferably at max level. So 13 plus level horse, and it's going to make it significantly easier for you to win that race. Although of course there's exceptions. If you're just really good at champs, unlike me, you will probably be able to win with a horse that is not fully trained, but it definitely will help you significantly if it is. Okay, this next one is maybe the most important thing on the list, and it's to make sure that your horse is always at max level happiness. An unhappy horse will slow you down significantly and completely ruin your chances of winning. So you can either do it stable care yourself or hire the stable hand to do it, and it's expensive. You have to use actual star coins with that, and I don't recommend doing it. So you can either like strategically use the free stable care coupons you can get in the Trailblazer track. I don't know why I have so much trouble saying that. Trailblazer track. Or you can just keep 1 or 2 horses aside, always that, you know, you take the time every day to do its daily care to make sure it stays at the max happiness. And that can be tedious because you do have to log in every day to do that, and it doesn't take very long, but it's kind of a pain to do. And you can either purchase food with shillings for your horse or grow it in your garden in Valedale for free, but you have to collect the materials yourself, which again, it isn't hard to do, but it does take time. And if you are buying the food, I would recommend buying the stack of hay because you get the most value for the shillings out of it. For myself, I never buy the food. I grow it when I have to, but most of the time I just use the free stable care coupons, and I just have the stable hand person do it. I don't like to do the dailies or anything myself. I don't like to log in every single day, but it is hard to make those last long enough in between earning new ones, so that's just something to keep in mind. Next is to enter champs when there is the least amount of possible competition. So either server hop to avoid large groups or play late at night. If you're a little kid, do not get up late at night to play this game. Go to bed, listen to your parents, eat broccoli, whatever. If you're grown up like me, then ruin your life, ruin your sleep schedule, and get up at 3 to 5 in the morning when it's the least crowded and enter champs. You may even be able to enter a champ where you're the only player there at that time of night, and then you're guaranteed a ribbon. I've played a lot of times when there's only like 2 to 3 other players, and it's so much easier. It's so much easier, of course, duh, but it's the only time that I ever win. So you can do that to avoid crowds. Just go to the servers that have nobody in them hardly, and also go to champs that are the least popular, like, you know, like Moorland and Silverglade. Those are always, I swear, you can go in the middle of the night and those champs are going to be packed. But other champs, the pony champ, there's nobody ever there, hardly ever. And you have so much more chance of winning if you're if you have nobody to compete with. So it can't go wrong. And also, though, you have to consider, though, if you enter a champ like a super crowded one, like let's say Moorland, where there's like 100 people there, that actually might work to your advantage because it splits you into multiple groups. So like the highest level players will all be grouped together to compete together, and then the lower level players will all be grouped together too. So you're only going to be competing against players that are also low level. In a very crowded championship, you're guaranteed that. But at a champ where there's hardly anybody, it's probably only going to be one group, and you could potentially be up against somebody that's like super experienced and high level. So you just gotta kind of wing it and hope for the best, but either go to a super crowded one or one that has nobody there. Learn all them shortcuts. Some are more common and obvious than others, and others are pretty well hidden. So you can just look up online or watch tutorials to find where all the shortcuts are, or you can simply just live and learn and pay attention to other racers and note when and where they are gaining themselves time. And also note that some races have shortcuts that are basically essential to stay ahead or get ahead. So there are certain shortcuts in certain champs that if I do or don't take them will completely dictate how well I do in that champ. If you skip it, you're not going to win. If you do the shortcut, you have a way better chance. So it also just depends on how good you are, though, because there's some shortcuts that are so tricky and the timing and stuff has to be just so, and if you mess it up, it's going to completely ruin your race. Like, you're never going to come back from it. All it takes is one mishap to go from first to last, and then it's impossible to get back to the top. We all know that. So just figure out what your skills are and practice, and if you're not confident that you can nail a shortcut, just skip it entirely. That's better than trying to do it and messing it up and losing a lot of time. So for me, I'm thinking about like in Valdale, that champ is so difficult, and then they have the wind boost things, and they're simultaneously a blessing and a curse, because on one hand, yeah, they speed you up a lot and they can put you ahead of several people, but you have to hit them just exactly right or it's going to ruin your race. If you're just slightly angled wrong, you're going to lose control, you're going to go off course, you're going to have to either crash or miss a check mark or checkpoint and go back. So you just have to use like good judgment in the moment and decide if you want to use that shortcut or that boost, and sometimes it might be better actually just to skip it. Also, some champs allow you to train on the course alone, which is good just for experience and practice, but you could also intentionally run slow on the course, and then you'd be able to figure out all the shortcuts yourself without the pressure of being in a race and having to do it in the moment and it make or break the race for you. Just practice ahead of time and get it in your head where all those shortcuts are. Next is high stat, tack, and outfit. So I'm pretty sure everybody knows about this, but you might not know like what specific things to wear. So I'm gonna have a Reddit post linked with more detailed information in the description. So you also can get horseshoes too that increase stats that help your like speed, stamina, jumping ability, all that stuff. And any outfit, any clothing item, any tag item you wear, there are certain ones that have higher stats than others. You need to pay attention to that. It makes a difference. And I will be entirely honest with you, when I get like the really good horseshoes, I sell them. I don't care about it. All my horses wear starter shoes, and I have never once in my life picked an outfit based on stats. and that's not gonna change. Like, I'm just too lazy for it. I don't care about it that much. But you will notice at champs, like, the people that consistently do really well are a lot of the time the ones that do pay attention to the stats, and they always have outfits that are like maximum stats. So if you're gonna be like super dead serious about being really good at champs, then this is definitely something that you need to learn and pay attention to. Do the dang pony champ too. So like I said earlier, nobody ever wants to do the pony champs, because unless you're already riding a pony just coincidentally, nobody wants to go back to their stable and switch to a pony for the pony champ. But there's really no reason not to, because there's not that many other people competing, so your chances of placing well are higher. Also, points are points, and when you're trying to do the championship rank thing and finish it, those pony champs that you skipped because you just didn't want to do it, those might have been like the difference between finishing it or not. So do the champ, do the pony champ, dang it. And here's another tip that I have, because I always forget about the pony champ, and I'm always like, actually not just the pony champ, any champ, I'm always there like 30 seconds before it starts. Keep one pony out in your home stable so that you can just quickly run in there and grab it and go. You don't even have to have tack on that thing, who cares? Just have it even like in the back or to the side, wherever, out of your sight if you don't want it in your stalls. Just have one ready so that you can run in there and get it really quick and head to the champ and make it there in time, because I don't know how many times that I have had to go in my stable and open up the little sidebar thing and find the pony and fling it out there and get it and trade stalls and stuff, and it ends up costing me the champ because I don't get there in time to enter it. So just have one sitting there ready. Okay, this next one is something that I didn't even realize until I've been playing the game for like a year, and surprise, I don't bother with this either, but the breed of horse you ride in the champ actually matters too. So I'm not positive on exactly the breed rankings for best stats, but I'm sure it'd be easy to find it online. All I know is that Gen 1 horses are the slowest, and I've read that Gen 3 Self-Rense, and I think the Gen 3 Ardennes too, have a slow jump, so that makes them slower overall. I guess it's like their animation suspends them in like the air a tad bit a tad bit slower. I'm not sure, but I also don't know what breed is the fastest like overall, like all the stats. I think it might be the Percheron, but don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. And I have noticed that a lot of players go to champs with Gen 2 horses, and they seem to always do well, so I assume those are some of the faster ones. And I also I know this for 100% sure that the Jorvik wild horse is fast, or it has like a fast jump, something. I know it's good. I don't know, like I said, the exact ranking of the breeds and stuff. You'd have to find that online, but some people say that this is like a huge thing, like with the TACK, and that it really matters, but then other people will say that the breed you're on and the TACK don't really matter that much. And I think that it just comes down to each individual person, and a lot of it is going to depend on your own like individual skill and experience, and other things combined too. Like if you're just crap like me, it's probably not going to matter what horse and what TACK and stuff you have on. If you're gonna win or not, you're probably not going to, just because you're not good. Whereas if you're just good and experienced at champs, if you know the shortcuts and stuff, then you're probably going to rank very high, if not win, basically every time, even if you have a slow horse or haven't bothered with having high stats stuff. So I don't know, it depends, and it's up to everybody what they want to do. Okay, I want to throw in a few quick tips that I found online that I don't think need like a detailed elaboration, but they might be worth mentioning. So first of all, never race in snow mode, and I feel like that goes without saying, because like everything being white is just going to be confusing and hard to judge distance. Also, I think like what in the water you run across in certain races be frozen, and those are always slippery. So turn that off if possible. And that would go for if in the future, if they add any rain effects that you can toggle on and off too, like just turn it off, because think of how hard Valdale Champ is because of the storm. Also, that would probably make your game lag, just depending on like the device you're running it on. And speaking of lag, when you go to do a champ, do everything possible to make sure that your game isn't going to lag. So certain people, depending on how your device does, you may want to avoid any champs that have a high crowd, because it's going to be hard for your computer or whatever to load them all in, and it might cause lagging. And also, if you have anything else running in the background, music or whatever, when you're doing a champ, anything like that that's going to make your computer lag, you may want to turn that off. Another thing that I cannot recommend enough is to test out all your horses and just figure out which breed works the best for you. And that would depend on each individual, just your own preferences. But like for myself, there are certain horses that I just hate to steer, and I swear they have a mind of their own, they're harder to control. And then there's other horses that I feel like are really smooth, and I do a lot better in champs with them. So you got to figure out for yourself what those horses are and which ones that are just gonna bog you down in a race. I also feel like the bigger the horse you have in a race, the better, because you know how or when you go around corners and stuff, especially at the beginning of a race, everybody is like all clogged up on each other, and if you're on like a pony, it's gonna make it really hard to be able to see where you are. And it can get confusing, especially if you're like on a corner or going over a jump or something. It can make you mess up. So if you're on a big horse, like let's say a Shire, then you're obviously going to be able to see exactly where you are, and it's going to make it easier. But at the same time, if you're on a big horse like a Shire, you might feel like they're a little bit harder to control and to steer and navigate with, because they are so big. It might make it harder for them to go around corners and squeeze through like little shortcuts and stuff that you're used to on a smaller horse. Okay, back to the actual list now, and this one is pretty obvious, but avoid the jumps that are actually avoidable. So if you can go around a jump, definitely do it. And of course, that's not counting jumps that you need to do for shortcuts or, you know, speed jump boost things. But if it's not a necessary jump, if you can go around it, it's better to do that, because jumps, like while you're suspended in the air, it slows you down a little bit. So that, and also just pay attention to where the actual checkpoint flag or poles are, because some of those checkpoints, they're very wide and they give the illusion that you have to go in a very certain like midway path between them to get the checkpoint. That's not true. You can actually get very, very close to the inside of the checkpoint and still pass. There's even some turns that on certain areas you can go around just slightly the flag and still get the checkpoint, although that is so tricky to do that I can't really recommend it. And also just try to be aware of where those poles are and like where you're trying to go. Like if you're trying to cut a corner because you need a certain angle and whatever, and like that's kind of hard to describe what I mean, but you know what I mean if you've done champs. And just keep that in mind so that you can try to cut the corner as close as you possibly can, because every little inch that you're able to shave off of the distance that you have to run that everybody else has to can make or break your race for you. And you're playing with fire, because you can very easily miss the checkpoint, but just try to trim those corners, try to save yourself as much ground as possible. And I know that seems like the most obvious thing in the world, but so often I will be in a race and you can tell exactly who's not been playing for very long, because they will be going like straight down the middle of the road and they're doing so much unnecessary distance because they like aren't aware that if they get close to the edges, they're still going to get the checkpoint, but they're going to be doing less distance than everybody else. And I see that all the time. So apparently it's not something that everybody realizes. Okay, so everybody knows that we need to try to jump over or avoid mud puddles and slippery stuff altogether, but some areas in certain races, it's unavoidable and you have to go through it. But to try to get through it as fast as possible, if you just jump constantly until you get past it, that actually will save you some time. You still have to go through it. It's going to slow you down and be slippery. You might lose some control, but it will get you through it faster than just trying to run. Number 11, jump boosts. So you can find tutorials online easily that teach you how to do these, and it's a massive speed boost when done right, but they are really tricky and very easy to mess up, and it takes a lot of practice to get consistently good at it and to know exactly when to do it and when not to. They have to be timed and angled very carefully, and there isn't really any room for error whatsoever. If you don't do it exactly right, you can get out of control and crash or miss a checkpoint, whatever. So you do have to practice those and learn how to do them just exactly right, but if you do learn to do them, they are a game changer. This one is kind of trial and error, and you just have to try to figure it out for yourself through practice, but practice testing different camera angles, because in certain cases, in certain races, especially on tight turns, you really need to make sure that you can very clearly see either what's right directly in front of you to like time your jump just right, or you might need to adjust the angle to be able to see your next move clearly. And I mean that in like you're able to accurately approach the next jump or turn, because sometimes just the split second of time is enough to be able to make sure you clear a jump or don't skip the checkpoint, and you're only able to do that because you adjusted the camera angle to be able to do so. And that's something that you're going to have to do on a case-by-case basis through practice and just figure out, but the camera angle and buying yourself that split second can really make a difference. In general, jumping onto or off of uneven ground like a hill or whatever can be really risky, because sometimes the game will register that as a fall, especially if you jumped downwards or at an angle, and it might actually put you backwards and at a total standstill, which is hard to come back from if the game does register it as a fall. So it is kind of hard to judge and control jumps that are uneven or going downhill anyway. And depending on where you are jumping at, it might make you miss a checkpoint or throw you way off course. So just be choosy about when you do jump on uneven ground, because it is kind of a risk to do it. And obviously a lot of shortcuts require these type of jumps, but again, practice makes perfect. So this isn't really a tip so much as it's a warning, and you might already be aware of it, but on PC at least, I don't know if it happens on mobile, but there is a pretty catastrophic glitch in races where you suddenly lose control of your horse and it will swerve very sharply to the side, I think usually to the right, and there's no way to know when it's going to happen. It usually happens to me at least once per race, and like I said, it's usually right after a jump, but you never can predict when it's going to happen, and when it does happen, you just have to write it out. There's nothing you can do to stop it or correct it, and you just have to hope that it didn't happen in a place that's really inconvenient, but it usually does. And I don't know how many races that I have lost or placed really badly because this glitch has happened and caused me to crash. It's caused me to miss a checkpoint, go off course. It registers as a fall sometimes depending on where it happens, and it's the most annoying glitch ever. And it's been in the game for I think at least a year right now, since I've been playing on PC anyway, and I can't believe that they've not fixed it yet. Okay, lastly, and this is another warning, not really a tip, but cheaters beware. So if you've been playing this game any amount of time at all, you know that this game is absolutely littered with cheats. They are everywhere, and they like to make our lives miserable. So if you see a cheater and you're 100% sure they're a cheater, then point your fingers out at them and boo them by reporting them. And we know Star Stable has a bad track record of actually like doing anything about problematic players, but you still have to report it. I think a mouse just ran under my bed. Okay, I'm back. It wasn't a mouse. I just have a fan in the floor and it blew out from under my bed some kind of massive hairball from my dog, and it's like a grayish white color, and I thought it was a mouse, and I was about to bust a hole through the wall to get out of here. But it wasn't a mouse, thank God. Okay, as I was saying, but I've actually forgot what I was talking about. Something about cheaters. Yeah. So what was I talking about? Oh my god, I've had a brain fart. I looked at my notes, I'm saved. Okay, so as I was saying, if you suspect somebody is cheating, you need to be 100% sure that they're cheating, because it would be terrible to report them and get them suspended and they weren't actually cheating. And there's all different kinds of signs that somebody is cheating in the game, but I'm not going to go into detail in this video. I ain't got time for that. So just look it up online to be aware of what to look for, and if you do find a cheater, make sure you report them, because they just bring down the fun for everybody and they don't deserve to be playing the same game as everybody else. So if you have any other tips and tricks that you know of and things that work for you, anything in this video that I got completely wrong or left out, which is likely because, like I said, I'm stupid, I'm bad at champs, and I've not been playing this game very long. So feel free to make any corrections in the comments or let me know things that I missed out on. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, comment, do all that stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!